Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ducks and Download. So, I figured today we'll start on our book reviews. I will be starting with The High Republic, Light of the Jedi, book number one in phase one of the High Republic literature. Uh, been really enjoying the High Republic so far. I think it has some of the best, I would say, in between moments for Star Wars. The Sith books, of course, really reign true for me when it comes to action and fun, but I've got to give it to the High Republic for making an extremely well connected and cohesive story. It's been a blast. So let's get into The Light of the Jedi, Book 1. To me, I think that this was a very good book and a very good introduction into the High Republic. Yes, it's kind of slow at the beginning, but a lot of books like this are gonna be a little slower. The main reason for that is it has a lot of stuff to set up: time, place, people, and problems. In this one, we get to meet a lot of really cool Jedi, almost to the book's downfall. In a sense, a lot of these books suffer from the idea of too many main characters that almost could have had their own book, but then at the same time, it wouldn't have felt as quick and there wouldn't have been as much going on. There wouldn't have been near as much drama and excitement. So I still agree with the way that it was done, but man, sometimes you really have to re-remember. Okay, whose story was I on? Why was Load and Greatstorm there? What was Rita Xylus doing in this time period, this time, in this place? It can be a little much, but I enjoy it. You just got to dig through it a few times. So, getting into the Light of the Jedi, we start off with, in a sense, a description of how the Republic is faring in this moment. You get a bit of stuff with Lena So, the current Prime Minister, or Chancellor, sorry. Uh, and we go on then to normal background stuff. We're starting to learn about the Nihil and all of this, which is a great setup. But the problem. The problem in this one, which makes it also feel a little bit grandiose and it has to be a little slower, is this is man versus nature. The other books have a really good job of man versus destiny and man versus man. But this first one is definitely a very much man versus nature kind of feel to me. I think when we get into the main problem here, the legacy run in the Great Hyperspace Disaster, it really shows how quick the Republic was to both be scared of something, but also try to tackle it. Not to their greatest attempt in the very beginning, though, sadly. So, the Legacy Run collides with something in a hyperspace lane, causing it to destroy itself in attempting a last minute maneuver. The G forces and the movement in hyperspace really just did a number on this poor ship and just disintegrated it almost. These parts then begin to fly out of hyperspace in what is known as the Great Hyperspace Disaster, and these things becoming what are then known as emergences. They are completely unknown, as they are, of course, jumping out of hyperspace. No one knows where they're going to just randomly end up. But most of them, and especially in this book, are going to end up in the Hetzal system, a farming system including Hetzal Prime and its fruited or seeded moons. Hetzal Prime is a huge agricultural planet that gives a lot of food and work for a lot of part of this galaxy. As these parts are coming out, though, it relays a huge disaster. Well, of course, in the beginning, everyone's like, well, this isn't really happening because everyone believes that everything's just going to be great. We have the Jedi, the Republic, and times are at peace. Things can't go wrong. Disaster, of course, invokes. This is what leads a lot of Bell and Loden's story. So, as Bell and Loden are leaving on a mission to actually help save a kidnapped family due to a distress signal getting out, they go to a planet where they end up with some steelies. It's a fun time. Kind of like that classic Jedi chase down scene. But it gets a little overshadowed, I think. Bell and Loden have some really great moments here and some really good team building. They really show the evil of people in the beginning of this, where, of course, rich people won't let the masses onto their starship to leave the planet because rich people gonna rich. This then leads, though, to the fact that, again, I wouldn't say overshadowed. I wouldn't say that the story becomes bleh. It is just so strange that you have Loden and Bell on this planet with a very focused storyline, but every other chapter almost right behind it, you're getting the Great Hyperspace Disaster, which kind of blows their little issue out of the water. It really deserves its place in the book still because it leads credence to the characters and helps you build that relationship with them, but it's 100% overshadowed by the emergences. With these emergences comes an amazing moment by one of my favorite Jedi, Buriaga, the Wookiee Jedi. Now, in these, we also get Skier, a Trandoshan Jedi, and I think this is really cool how these two can work together without even comprehending the past that these two species have. Trandoshans love hunting Wookiees and selling them to slavery, and Wookiees hate Trandoshans because of the slavery. But you can really tell that these two are Jedi first, Trandoshans or Wookiees second. Always kind of makes me think too, because then I gotta think, does Skier follow the Scorekeeper, which is a normal Trandoshan god? The Scorekeeper is a god that the bigger the target you kill, the more score you get. The better your score, the better your paradise, I assume. But obviously a Jedi can't really be one to have a god of death and killing. But it has been really nice to see how these other species really do push that feeling of Jedi first, myself second, except for some of the humans. In this one, we see a lot more with Elzar Mann and Amar Kriss in the beginning parts, where you can kind of tell they really had a thing together. But that thing together does lead to some of the most amazing knowledge about hyperspace. So, getting more towards the end of the book, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here just because this is amazing. Speaking of hyperspace, we finally get to learn something about hyperspace that I had no idea about, and it absolutely blew my mind. The fact that hyperspace is different realities. Amazing. I did not expect such a really cool concept to just be thrown out and really spoken about in a book, but it makes sense when they visit the Santeca clan on Naboo. The Santecas are a family of prospectors, or as they like to say, I think navigators, map builders. They chart these hyperspace lanes. So they are the ones who are actually informing us that the reason no ship can hit another object or another ship in a hyperspace lane is because they're not actually on the same lane. They're on very different planes of existence, just happening to travel in the sandwich that is space and time. This, then, because of all this hyperspace, as things are getting worse and worse, there is a solution that is came up with with a very smart individual from Hetzal and a bunch of droids. These droid minds help him kind of start calculating the emergencies, which really help everyone get everything under control. Now, though, back to the actual danger. A real part that heated all of this up for me was when Bariaga, through his empathy, feels that there are still people on these emergence pieces. Some of these pieces are actually containing the lives and passengers of the Legacy Run that got locked away into a small section of the ship while it was hurtled through hyperspace. Feeling this, he's able to do some quick thinking with a non-Force user, and they're able to save the entire pod of people. Bariaga then runs around to help others, realizing who is what, and reminds the Jedi to use their feelings and to search through the Force instead of just seeing a problem and ending it. Another thing I like about this with Bariaga and the help of the non-Force users is it shows kind of how much the Jedi need non-Force users to get out of the clouds. They're always up here. Their mind is in the Force. They hear everything. They can feel so much. They're almost overstimulated. That's why you almost need these non-Force users, and they really kind of reground the Jedi. And it's something I absolutely love, the dynamic of how the Jedi feel so grandiose and how these people are mesmerized by their magical powers, because these are Outer Rim people. These are not the people who grew up on Coruscant or Corellia or anywhere in the Mid or Inner Rim. The Outer Rim people, this is the first time they're really experiencing Jedi in the High Republic. Starlight being it's not open yet, and everyone who shows up out here Jedi-wise is just 100% like sheriff in the Outer West. Very unprotected, very unsupervised, not a lot of equipment they can bring with them. It's a harsh time, but that's what makes it so cool. So this is when we're starting to learn about all of the Nihil. As these chapters are going on, every now and then we're getting pictures and stories about them. They're going to try and use these emergences for their own good. The big emergence, though, in the Hetzal system that sends everything into utter chaos is when a liquid Tabana canister is found, and of course, hurtling right towards the sun. Liquid Tabana is a source of fuel, and if that thing gets caught, it is going to more or less cause a solar flare that will wipe out life on most of the system in the Hetzal system. Jedi can't have that, of course. So while all this is going on, the Jedi are now starting to realize that they have to form together. Avar Kriss, using almost like a battle meditation style, is leading all of these Jedi in a sense of oneness. To grab this Tabana tank and push it out of orbit. Now again, this is when things are getting concluded, because this is going on. We have the Nihil starting to plan attacks and schemes to extort this galaxy out of these emergencies, while Bell and Loden are chasing down one single Nihil strike and saving a family. It is action-packed. It is really good. But man, does it, when you look back on it, it just doesn't feel like it's on the same scale as the Nihil emergences and the emergences of the pieces of the Legacy run. So now we're moving on to the later game. This is when we're really starting to figure things out after they've stopped the Tabana. And by the way they do this is awesome. So as all the Jedi are slowly concentrating, some of them, from the sheer power of the Force, die. They're exuding so much pressure and strength on this tank being sucked into a star's gravity that some of them lose track of where they are and stumble off a cliff, or simply just stop breathing. It is a mesmerizing thing to think these are the Jedi that are 100% in tune with the light side of the Force, and they are just going to give their life however they can to help. So they save the day, Avar and her battle meditation, and the scores of Jedi doing everything they can to help from all over the galaxy move the Tabana tank with a lot of difficulty, but move it. So the Hetzal system is saved. This is when, after this, that you get Elzar Mann and Avar Kriss get a lot of really cool personal talking while they're headed to the Santeca clan estate on Naboo, talking about almost retiring together. And you're really getting the sense that Avar and Elzar were 100% a thing in their Padawan days. She literally says, "We're not Padawan anymore." To me, all I'm thinking is Avar's doing that thing with attachment where they take it too far, so it's like with. But then Elzar is definitely taking his attachment to the point of almost lust, so he's gone way beyond. And it kind of leads to where you can see why Jedi shouldn't have attachments, but they also shouldn't shun them. It really makes their bond very strong that Elzar, Avar, and Stellan Gios all have this kind of, I wouldn't say romantic triangle, but they all care for each other a lot. Very, very deep friendship. So we're now getting towards the end of the book. I haven't really talked about the Nihil a lot because honestly, aside from like small skirmishes here and there and learning about them while they're in their no space hall, they haven't done a lot against the Republic yet. Because honestly, Marchion Ro scared of having the Jedi come down on them too early when he's not ready. Marchion Ro in this book is really setting himself up to be a planner, and he will definitely continue that in the next two books. I would definitely say that the Nihil are becoming a very favorite of mine, and Marchion Ro's cold tactical killer mood is absolutely stellar. So as things are going on, Avar and Elzar are talking to the Santecas. We have Stellan Gios talking with Chancellor on Coruscant and the other council members. Now we're getting into this part where you can feel the book kind of wanting to settle down, but the Nihil aren't letting that happen. So the Nihil are this constant force. They really are a protagonist. This is when it starts to turn from man versus nature into man versus man. Later part of the book, the Nihil are going to try and extort as much as they can out of these other planets, because not only did the Republic figure out where the emergencies would come from eventually, so did the Nihil. The Nihil, of course, using Marchion Ro's secret weapon. A very old, decrepit lady from the Santeca clan who has the ability through the Force to travel through space and time better than anyone else. And that's actually what gives the Nihil that crazy, like, inner slip space jump ability through hyperspaces, because they're not using hyperspace lanes. They're using these ones that are just created by this savant Santeca. But so as of course any of these groups of marauders and raiders will do, one of them gets a little too big for his britches and doesn't like the idea of Marchion leading them. This is Kasov. Kassav is a Weequay who does a lot of smash and has definitely ruined his brain. That's another part with the Nihil that I kind of enjoyed. They really made them that nitty gritty by being like, oh no, they're constantly smashing drugs in their face. The masks they wear, because they use gas to attack, their tactics are very downright just underhanded. These are not people who are looking to win honor, they're looking to just win. So, as they begin to go out to do this wonderful plan that it's come up with to ransom these planets to save them from the emergence, well, sadly, maybe through his smash-addled brain, Kassav and his crew, like Wetbub, don't really do a good job. First one gets stopped. Second one smashes a few transports and it gets stopped. The third, or the second one, yes, the second one also is stopped. The third one, though, they're not close enough, sadly. And it smashes through a lot of transports, causing them a grief amount of money. Oh no, the second one does hit the transports. The third one hits the moon. This immediately sends that entire planet into a disarray. And the leader of that planet has an amazing cold moment where she goes, not word for word, but I will find you and I will kill you, or someone else will. I don't want to give away too much. It's amazing. I still want you guys to read this book for yourself. So now Kassav has ruined this plan. Tail between his leg, runs back to Marchion Ro. Marchion Ro says he forgives him. All is fine. Don't worry about it. But come on, we all know Marchion Ro's not that forgiving. The book ends pretty much with a huge battle taking place off towards No Space, or away from Starlight Beacon. While Starlight Beacon is pretty much getting ready to open because the Chancellor has decided to open up the Outer Rim again after closing it because of the Great Legacy Run hyperspace calamity. A lot of words to describe stuff. But everything's now reopened, so they're getting ready to open Starlight Beacon while the Nihil make a final push. People think that the Nihil are trying to actually just attack, but what Marchion Ro is doing is he's killing the person who betrayed him, tried to steal all the money, and ruined the plan. One storm down, another to fill its place. So, aside from my being all over the place with this first book review, I would definitely give Light of the Jedi a 3 out of 5. Not that it's a mediocre or medium book, but again, like with the last video I said, we're not judging things on a global scale or on a all of literature, all of story scale. I am judging this off of Star Wars, and I love all Star Wars. So a 3 out of 5 is still like an 8 out of 10 compared to a lot of other people. To me though, knowing where these other books go and having read them already, I would definitely say, yeah, Light of the Jedi gets a 3 out of 5. Great story building, amazing character introduction, but almost too many characters introduced, and a story that sometimes can fall a little flat because some parts feel way bigger and other parts just feel like they could have been left out. Happy they weren't, because everyone needs to see how awesome Loading Greatstorm is. It matters, trust me. So, rambling aside, thank you so much for joining. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. Tell me what you thought. Tell me what you think I need to do to improve. I'm down for some criticism, guys. This is only episode number 3 on this channel. There's going to be a lot more to come. I'll definitely end up redoing them before too long because, well, I can do better. We can always strive to do better. Again, long-windedness put on the back burner. Like, comment, share, please subscribe. I would absolutely love to know your view on Light of the Jedi and the High Republic in total. Join me next time where we're going to probably go over, I believe, Into the Dark, and then we got a few comics to start getting into because now this is when everything's starting to amalgamate together. These storylines are going to be a little confusing until you get your head wrapped around them, but they all come together in a nice close. So, thank you for joining me on the Ducks and Download. I look forward to seeing you again very soon.